Today, my friends, is a sad day. After months of speculation, Tico, a crowdfunded 3D printer raising almost $3 million from 16,000 backers, has run out of money. Staff have been laid off, production has come to a standstill, and it seems exceedingly unlikely that the vast majority of backers will ever see the 3D printer they pledged for. Couple that with the sadly disappointed recipients of the 1-in-1 Hero, which, yeah, I know it's not that great, it was pretty cheap anyway, and the various other failed campaigns out there. There's a lot of people out there who are super keen to get into 3D printing, but alas, have no 3D printer. I've tested many 3D printers over the years here on Makers Muse. However, I've resisted making this kind of video for a very long time for reasons I'll go into at the end of the video. However, without further ado, welcome to the Makers Muse list of 3D printers for $350 or less that don't suck in 2017. These are 3D printers you can buy right now for $350 or less, shipping not included. They're machines I've either personally tested or come with high recommendation from friends who have used them for many months. It's definitely not a conclusive list, however I feel as long as the specifications match what you're after, you can't go too far wrong with the machines listed here. Of course, full disclaimer and disclosure, you're your own person with making your own decision on a machine that is yours, and the purchase is not mine to make. So 3D printing is not perfect, so don't blame me if your machine doesn't live up to your expectations. After all, $350 doesn't buy a whole lot of 3D printer. I also want to point out this video has not been sponsored in any way, shape or form. Some machines in this video were loaned to me on reviews, or I did get to keep them, and some of them are recommended from friends. However, all of that does not affect my decision to include them or not in any way, shape or form. This video is my opinion, simple as that. So let's begin for my pick of the most beginner-friendly 3D printer, the Cetus from Cetus 3D. The Cetus was crowdfunded last year and most backers have since received their machines. Those backers got it for a ridiculously low $199 US. However, it's now available retail for $299 for the regular version with a build volume of 180 by 180 by 180 millimeters, or you can get the extended version to get a build height of 300 millimeters. What makes the Cetus unique is it's the only machine in this lineup to use linear rails, specifically those from IKO in Japan. Rails are one of the most precise linear motion components you can get, resulting in a light, precise design. The Cetus also gets my tick of approval as it's manufactured by Time, the same company behind the widely successful Up and Affinia 3D printers. The Cetus is the result of them taking their design approach and distilling it down to a bare-bones functional 3D printer. Now I own a pre-production Cetus, and although some things have changed, actually most of them for the better, my machine has produced some phenomenal prints, like this lattice snowflake in PLA plastic. The Cetus is also extremely easy to use. The software is proprietary and locks away many features that can result in print failure. This is great for newbies and even school environments. However, a seasoned 3D printing enthusiast will find this extremely limiting. You can't use any other slicer currently. With a Cetus, you have to use their software, which is pretty limited if you're used to something like Slicer or Simplify 3D. But what's the catch? Well, the Cetus lacks a heated print bed, which means you're pretty much limited to just PLA plastic. Forget any idea of printing in ABS, PETG or nylons. PLA is only, in my opinion. It also has Wi-Fi, however that's a feature I couldn't care less about, so I've never tried it. That may be, however, a plus for you. Next up is the most robust 3D printer in the lineup, the Trinus. Another successful Kickstarter, the Trinus is unlike anything else in its class, choosing to use lead screws for all axes in a modular design made from metal. The whole thing is metal and screws together onto the 5mm thick steel base plate. Considering how small this machine is, it weighs a lot. You could probably injure someone quite a lot if you drop this machine on them. The mass and rigidity translates into extremely precise print movement, and you can get incredible print detail off a Trinus. The machine currently retails for $349 for batch 2 production. Now the company is finally nearing the end of its massively successful Kickstarter fulfillment. However, there's a few gotchas. First is the print volume at 120 by 125 by 125 millimeters. It is one of the smallest printers in this lineup in terms of print volume. However, you can still produce decent models with that size, and of course you can stick things together and print them in parts. A key point, however, is that the $349 is for the basic model. With options such as the enclosure, heated bed, or even a laser engraving attachment all being available, but at an additional cost. So like the Cetus, an unheated bed will limit you to printing in PLA only, which may suit some people. However, honestly, if you're already spending that much money, I would just spring for the heated bed upgrade anyway, so you can try other plastics other than PLA. I have no doubt that the all lead screw approach of the Trinus is rock solid. However, it will also limit your top speed. 70 millimeters per second is the highest recommended speed on their website, compared to a belt-driven printer, which will go a lot faster. Next is my pick for the most popular 3D printer in the lineup, the MP Select Mini. The MP doesn't stand for most popular, but it might as well. Distributed by Monoprice around America, this little machine is insanely popular and can be had for a mere $199 US. And it's almost perpetually sold out due to that popularity. It's a rebrand of the Malian M200, which can also be found through other companies such as Hobbyking. This little machine has a heated bed, yes heated, with a print volume of 120 by 120 by 120 millimeters, which again is pretty small. However, for the price, you really can't complain too much, considering it does have a heated bed, letting you print in ABS, PLA, and PETG, and it has a humongous user group around it should you run into any issues, because at this price point, you do start to lose out on some quality control. However, you should be okay with warranty, and the community around this machine is massive, so if you've got any sort of technical skill, you'll probably be able to fix the machine yourself. And here's one you've probably been waiting for, the cheapest of the lineup, and it's a kit. The Tronxy or Tronxy X1. There is a lot of 3D printed kits you can buy with a $350 budget. However, many have serious issues that require significant tweaking. Some kits on the market require significant investment into modifications to make them print properly, and the Tronxy is far from perfect. However, it's regularly available on flash sales for around $150 US, shipped. That is, quite frankly, insane. And this little kit has a lot going for it. It uses the correct profile V-slot extrusion for its rollers, which means it works pretty well using that system. It comes with a mains DC power brick, so you'll never ever get exposed to mains voltages. It has a really decent manual, which is loaded on the included micro SD card, and a surprisingly good Bowden style extruder assembly with sheet metal. I've been putting mine together, which I purchased over Christmas, and so far have only run into minor issues in terms of the part quality, and I'll be putting a card here for when my review of this machine comes out in a week or so. However, if you can't wait, definitely check out my buddy Preston's channel and his review and opinions on this little kit. And although the price is extremely attractive, the Tronxy, as I said, is not perfect. You can pretty much expect no support once you purchase this machine beyond the fast-growing Facebook community, and once again, there's no heated bed on this machine to shave down the cost, which limits you to PLA plastic. If parts arrive broken or you break them during assembly, you'll have to figure out a way to get them replaced on your own pretty much, because again, support is almost non-existent. I've always said kit 3D printers are more of a hobby than a tool compared to ready-to-run machines, and that's definitely still true in this case. However, if you're a parent with a kid who grew up on Lego Technic and Meccano, can't help themselves but rip apart any electronics they find on the side of the road to see what makes it tick, I can pretty much bet they will love this kit. And it's definitely one of the safer kits I've found at its price point. It's actually so cheap, you could buy two for under the $350 budget we're allocating to printers in this lineup in case they break any parts. It's like a donor kit to continue building. Now this next one is for the Aussies. Those of you who were subscribed in early 2016 to Makers Muse will remember when Aldi announced they were selling a 3D printer in stores. Specifically, it was called the Cocoon Create, which was a rebrand of the Wanhao Duplicator i3 version 2 for $500 Australian. At the time, this was cheaper than you could buy direct from China, and on the morning they went on sale, nerds around Australia were waiting outside Aldi for it to open to claim their 3D printers. It was a beautiful sight. They sold out pretty much instantly, and Aldi has never repeated the deal, sadly. However, if you missed out, I've got some pretty good news for you. The same company responsible for bringing those machines into Aldi stores have done it again, only this time with Kogan. Looks familiar? Well, that's because it's also a Wanhao i3, although this time it's the version 2.1, where they actually improved the machine further from the one I reviewed. This machine is the best bang for your buck for Aussies right now, without a doubt, hands down in my opinion, and you can check out my review of version 2 here. On this machine you can expect a generous print volume of 200 by 200 by 180 millimeters, a sheet metal frame, and the ability to print PLA, PETG, and even ABS if you add a DIY enclosure to keep the heat in. And the Wanhao i3 machines have an incredibly huge community around them with countless mods you can do to improve printer stability, reliability, and accuracy. It works out of the box, but you can improve it massively, and it's also now available for $399 Australian, which is roughly $300 US. If you're stateside and you want to get one of these machines, you can try and grab the monoprice Makers Select. Once again, it's the same Wanhao 3D printer, just rebranded for $317 US. I also wanted to include a wildcard in this lineup as a bonus, the Fabrikator Mini version 2. Now, some of you may remember the adorably tiny Fabrikator Mini sold by Hobbyking that I tested out early last year, a tiny, low-cost 3D printer that actually worked pretty well. Sadly, it's been discontinued. However, be on the lookout for its replacement very soon. Word on the grapevine is that the Fabrikator Mini 2 will be a Malian M100, but with various improvements put in place by Hobbyking at a more attractive price. So while I can't add it to this list yet because you can't buy it doesn't exist yet, be sure to subscribe for when I test it out later this year. So that's going to do it, guys. If you've been burnt by Kickstarters gone bad or just don't have much budget to get into 3D printing, the machines discussed in this video should get you on your way into the wonderful world of 3D printing. But I do need to stress, everyone has a specific use, need, and set of requirements around their machine, and there's no perfect or best choice that fits every situation. For some of you, none of these printers will fit your requirements, and if that's the case, maybe you just have to keep saving your money. I actually put together an ebook comparing key aspects of FDM 3D printers together last year to help people make an informed decision, and it's actually still quite relevant, and for the next month I'm going to halve the cost of it, just in case it's something you want to look into. A huge thanks to my amazing patrons for supporting the channel and allowing me to do what I love and produce content like this. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, why not? You don't want to miss our future 3D printing tips, tricks, tutorials, and projects, do you? My name's Angus, and I look forward to seeing you again very shortly here on Makers Muse. Catch you later, guys. Bye.
It is the latter half of the 20th century, and man has sent rockets into deep space. He has placed satellites into orbit.